Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Demon Slayer. Unlimited skill points at the start. Chapter 6 Cut. Compared to Heiyuming, who was not suppressed by Kibutsuji Muzan at all, Tomioka Giyu's side seemed a bit powerless. The huge pressure from the huge gap in the biological level made all the cells in his body tremble constantly, as if he had encountered a natural enemy. If Tomioka Giyu's attribute panel can be digitized, there will definitely be a fear, all attributes minus 80% debuff. Tanjiro also seemed powerless. And he was constantly attacked by the weird scarlet tentacles emerging from the ground from time to time. If it wasn't for the assistance of Nezuko, he might have fallen to the ground with injuries at this time. There is really no way to do this. Facing the terrible sense of oppression released by the monsters that have preyed on humans for thousands of years, if there is no firm willpower, they would have been paralyzed on the ground and could not move. But Tomioka Giyu's ability to withstand this instinctive fear and resist has almost proved his willpower. In contrast, Nezuko, who has been reborn and possessed Heiyuming's blood, is like unrivaled Wuxia. He has gained terrifying power, like kicking a carrot, and kicked all the tentacles, attacking them tens of meters into the air, above. Tomioka Giyu's proud heart couldn't accept the huge contrast from the kid who was easily killed by him at the beginning to the two who were basically out of combat. Hey, these tentacles stopped moving. Just when Tomioka Giyu was exhausted from fighting with the tentacles, he was surprised to find that these tentacles stopped all their movements as if they had been cast with the technique of time suspension. Seeing this strange phenomenon, Tomioka Giyu also temporarily stopped the movements in his hands, and looked up at the battlefield between Heiyuming and Kibutsuji Muzan. This battle was simply a shameful battle in his life. The members of the killing team attracted the attention of the enemy, and they were even protected by the ghost, he thought at first. But it doesn't matter if you don't look at it. He was shocked when he saw Heiyuming, who he thought he could only drag the enemy in front of him, open several meters on the neck of the tens of meters high monster, Long Hole. This monster, whose unconscious tentacles had already made him feel a trace of despair, was seriously injured by this man who was younger than him in front of him. At the same time, while Kibutsuji Muzan was rolling on the ground in pain, Heiyuming also shook the arm whose bones had burst from overexertion, allowing him to recover instantly, and then turned around and jumped to the tentacles that had temporarily stopped beside Tomioka Giyu, who is fighting wits and courage and looks dull. Seeing Heiyuming recover quickly with his arm bones cracking like firecrackers, Tomioka Giyu couldn't help murmuring subconsciously, "What the hell is this monster?" "Oh, you said him, he is Kibutsuji Muzan, didn't I tell you?" Heiyuming walked to the side of Tomioka Giyu with a face of course and replied, "Now that he has no weapons, he will not be so stupid hand-to-hand combat with an old coin that is thousands of years old. The successful attack just now can be said to be a pure coincidence. If Kibutsuji Muzan hadn't had any defense against his attack, he probably wouldn't have gotten the chance to hit him hard with one blow so easily, not to mention that Kibutsuji Muzan would definitely he didn't expect that the self-healing method he was proud of would encounter Waterloo in this place. But to be honest, judging from the fight just now, Kibutsuji Muzan's real combat power is not as high as he imagined. The real combat power can even be said to be much weaker than some winding ghosts, but these are only through animation judged by the circumstances. The real situation is uncertain until which ghosts he encounters, but now is definitely the best time to kill Kibutsuji Muzan. The monster I'm talking about is you, bastard. Tomioka Giyu's heart is about to collapse. He feels that the experience of these years is probably not as much as what he came in this afternoon, and the person opposite him is Kibutsuji Muzan, the faithful enemy of our Ghost Slayer team for generations. Why did you beat you half to death in one shot? You are the monster. By the way, let's not talk about this for now. Let me borrow your Nichiren blades for fun. My axe is broken." Heiyuming didn't care about Tomioka Giyu, who was sluggishly standing there, and snatched the Nichiren blades from him directly. Puff! A heavy knife cut Heiyuming's left-hand artery, and the red blood was as dazzling as if it had coated the Nichiren blades with a layer of ruby, and it also shone with a soul-stirring light in the daytime covered by dark clouds. This is a great opportunity to kill Kibutsuji Muzan, a bastard, and he will never miss this opportunity. The aura of Heiyuming, who got the Nichiren blades, instantly became extremely sharp, and the monstrous sword intent began to spread outwards from the center of Nichiren blades, and the terrifying sword intent carved out tiny swords on the surrounding stones. The scars, like rocks that have been eroded by the wind for hundreds of years, covered the surrounding air with a layer of white dust. When the momentum climbed to the extreme, everything seemed to stand still, the clouds stopped moving, the wind stopped, the leaves stopped shaking, and everything became extremely slow. There was only an unpretentious slash, with a small blade cutting towards Kibutsuji Muzan's huge head. Basic swordsmanship, slash. In an instant, the wind stopped and the water stopped. There seems to be only one sword left between the sky and the earth. Chapter 7. Snowflakes are like palms, and it is difficult to cover your eyes, and the wind is like a knife, and you can't stop worrying. The fluttering snow swept across the vast land with the wind like a knife, and the whole land was dotted with snow-like coldness and cleanliness. The once lush forest is also so small and surrendered under the snow cover, blending with the snow and being covered by the snow. In this snow-white snow mountain forest picture, a touch of bright scarlet is like a finishing touch, it looks so bright. A young man leapt into the air with a blood-like sharp blade in his hand. Compared with the huge enemy in front of him, the young man seemed extremely small, but he exuded endless majesty like an ancient god of war. In contrast, the small metal blade in his hand showed endless power at this time. After Kibutsuji Muzan turned into a huge monster, the tens of meters wide neck seemed to be displaced by space in an instant, and the extremely smooth cutting plane like glass exuded a hazy red reflection light like the most beautiful artwork. Boom! The huge head, without the support of the neck, slowly fell to the ground, raising endless dust and snowflakes. The Nichiren sword in Heiyuming's hand was also destroyed along with the monster's head. After the blood-red sword body was swept by a gust of wind, it turned into blood-red particles and drifted with the wind in the endless cold wind. Kibutsuji Muzan, is he dead? Tomioka Giyu saw this amazing scene, and was so frightened that he couldn't keep his peace of mind anymore. The expression of disbelief finally appeared on his paralyzed face that hadn't changed for thousands of years. I also hoped that he died, but obviously he didn't. At the last moment his body had escaped. Heiyuming said helplessly, and kicked Kibutsuji Muzan's head hard at the same time. As the head rolled, an obvious vacancy appeared in everyone's sight, and it could be clearly seen that the most important part of the head had been removed. Heiyuming, who is well aware of the plot, can guess it even with his eyes closed. The fluctuations he felt at the last moment and the faint sound of the piano just now are definitely what Nakime did. He didn't make any achievements in the vampire technique in space, so naturally he couldn't make any effective attacks on Kibutsuji Muzan. But after this time, even if Kibutsuji Muzan did not die, he would definitely be seriously injured. Just kidding about his basic swordsmanship, coupled with the terrifying power of the ghost body, the power of that sword is almost comparable to that of the X-Curry stick, a siege-level weapon. I am a little excited thinking about it. What, not dead yet? Tomioka Giyu heard Heiyuming's words, and sat down on the ground as if he had lost all his strength. Even after suffering such a terrifying attack, he still couldn't kill Kibutsuji Muzan, and he had been practicing swordsmanship since childhood, but he couldn't even touch Kibutsuji Muzan's real body. Am I really not worthy to be a pillar? If you were the one who survived Sabito, you must be able to do better than me. No, if it was you, you might have killed Kibutsuji Muzan. Thinking of his embarrassing performance just now, even the flustered behavior of breathing, Tomioka Giyu couldn't help but think of the genius swordsman of the same class as him, Sabito. That one was also like the Heiyuming in front of him, who stood in front of him without hesitation at the critical moment of the swordsman's trial, the one who protected the lives of all the swordsmen who participated in the trial but was finally exhausted and was killed by a ghost man. Watching Heiyuming's back gradually merge with the little figure who once guarded him in his memory, Tomioka Giyu murmured, I thought I had grown up, but I finally came. I'm still that lowly swordsman, and I still want you to protect me in the end, if only I was the one who died. The tears in the corners of his eyes gradually slid down his face like water overflowing from a pond. Heiyuming, who noticed this scene, turned around and almost lost his waist in fright. Although I am very handsome, and I have some insignificant advantages such as handsome, suave, elegant, brave, and invincible, but seeing my heroic appearance shouldn't be so exciting. You are a big man, how can you be moved to tears when you see other handsome men? Has my charm attribute increased again? What to do? How to coax a man? Wait online. But after hearing Tomioka Giyu's murmur, Heiyuming immediately realized that this silly boy definitely thought of himself and Sabito together. Heiyuming also admires Sabito very much. The genius swordsman who lost his life in the place of trial in order to protect others. Even though the brilliance of his life withered before it bloomed at its peak, the lives of the other swordsmen he guarded during the trial also continued his life, and even bloomed far beyond his life. Firelight. Tomioka Giyu in front of him is the best proof of his choice. Thinking of facing Tomioka Giyu, who was still in tears, Haeyuming turned around and said with a smile. You have done a good job. Haven't you already realized what Sabito wants to pass on to you? That means he has blocked the life that is maintained by his life and the future entrusted to him, although this time Kibutsuji Muzan didn't die, but didn't you protect Tanjiro's life? Listening to Haeyuming's words, the face of a boy with orange hair and a scar on his face gradually appeared in Tomioka Giyu's mind. It's so familiar, it seems that someone told me this before. What is the clear pain of being slapped hard on the cheek? Why did I forget the conversation that Sabito said to me? I can't think of it, because the tears will not stop flowing, and I feel very sad when I think of it. But now, when I think about it, it's incredible that there is a boy who speaks the same words as you. Sabito, sorry, please forgive my immature thinking. Chapter 8. Seeing Tomioka Giyu's emotions gradually calm down, Haeyume let out a sigh of relief. It's okay to coax girls, but he really has no experience in coaxing boys. If I didn't know the plot, I'm afraid Tomioka Giyu would really turn from a paralyzed face to an autistic boy after returning this time. Young man, just can't bear the pressure, no wonder he is so handsome but still doesn't have a girlfriend. Sure enough, mature and stable men like me are more popular with girls. Thank you, but why do you know about Sabito? Tomioka Giyu, who had calmed down, sincerely expressed his gratitude to Haeyuming. Ding, the current level of favorability between the host and Tomioka Giyu is admiration. The guilt over Sabito's death weighed on his chest like a mountain. After several years of repression, it has even become his inner demon, hindering his further growth. Today, Haeyuming's words finally relieved him from this heavy burden. But even though he had put down his guard against Haeyuming, Tomioka Giyu still had a lot of doubts about why he knew about Sabito. Why did Haeyuming, who was neither a pre-selection member who trained with them nor an official member of the Demon Slayer squad, know the secret between them? Now it's Haeyuming's turn to be confused. How do I know your story? Do you want me to say that the world you live in is actually just a fantasy world created by a cartoonist? Concerned about Kuhei, he only remembered now that he is neither a member of the Demon Slayer squad nor a student of Yorokodaki Sakanji. What can I do? I can only edit it. Haeyuming folded his arms around his chest, looked up at the setting sun at a 45-degree angle, and said with reminiscence and emotion. Once upon a time, I was on Sawu Mountain, and I came across a strange boulder, where a boy with orange hair and a scar on his face taught me how to use swordsmanship correctly. Hearing Haeyuming's description, Tomioka Giyu's face showed a hint of surprise, and finally understood where Haeyuming's news came from. In the eyes of Tomioka Giyu, Haeyuming, who is an outsider, is indeed the only way to know about Sabito, so what he saw on Mount Sagiri is not false. It turned out that he had never left on Sawu Mountain. Goo. The huge sound from the stomach broke the silence at this moment. Listening to the loud noise coming from Tomioka Giyu's stomach, Haeyuming joked, "Haha, you are hungry, your body is much more honest than yours." Goo, goo, goo. The following three stomach cries echoed in the empty forest again. But this time it's not Tomioka Giyu's, it's coming out of himself and Nezuko and Tanjiro's belly. You're hungry too. Tomioka Giyu, who seized the opportunity, retorted immediately, and at the same time breathed a sigh of relief. It turned out that this guy would also feel hungry. And Tanjiro, who just woke up from a faint, also lowered his head with a blushing face. Cousin Ming, I'm hungry too. And of course the cute Nezuko's stomach is already empty. Hungry. Thinking about it this way, it seems that he hasn't eaten anything since time travel. If it wasn't for the high-intensity battle that made him ignore the feeling of hunger, he might have already been so hungry that he had no energy left. Although the almost invincible healing ability brought by the perfect ghost body can also be immune to the sun's rays. But the energy required for recovery and action is completely beyond the imagination of normal people. And the consequence of all this is an unparalleled appetite. It is no exaggeration to say that according to Haeyuming's current appetite, the appetite thrown into One Piece world is definitely 2 Luffy levels. However, since everyone is hungry, and the battle is over, the most urgent task now is to fill the stomach. Nezuko is so cute, how can I make her hungry? Speaking of which, even though he was not a first-class super chef before time traveling, he has also developed extraordinary cooking skills after living alone for several years after his parents passed away. Although it has not been displayed on the character panel here, it must be because the original owner of this body does not know how to cook. But once he starts cooking, the system panel will definitely rate his cooking skills directly. At that time, once the skill points are added, it's not just that the skill points can be whatever you want, and you can directly upgrade him to the full level, so that these three people who have never experienced the ultimate delicacy will know what is really delicious. Good sister, my cousin will cook something delicious for you later, I saw Hei yumming after hearing Nezuko's stomach gurgling. Immediately, I felt energetic all over my body, jumping up instantly like turning into a bolt of lightning. Nezuko, who is hungry, is also super cute today. As a gentleman, when any pretty lady encounters difficulties, she should bet on the name of a gentleman and dedicate her heart to the beautiful ladies. But where do you get the ingredients in this winter? Chapter 9. Plop plop. A sound of flapping wings gradually came from the sky, which involuntarily attracted the attention of everyone present. I saw a round and fat pigeon like a meatball, holding a huge envelope on its feet and flying towards the crowd. After seeing Tomioka Giyu, its eyes lit up and then it flew towards him quickly. The small wings of the meat pigeon form a sharp contrast with its round body with a radius of nearly half a meter, which makes people worry whether its wings can really bear the unbearable weight of this kind of life. Giyu, I saw that at the last half-meter distance from Tomioka Giyu, the wings of the meat pigeon were finally unable to support its huge weight. After Yang Tian let out a long cry, it made an emergency landing to the nearest hay on Yumming's head. As Tomioka Giyu took the envelope on the meat pigeon's leg into his hand with a paralyzed smile, the round meat pigeon suddenly found that his wings seemed to be held. Giyu. Just now I was thinking about where the ingredients are, but I didn't expect it to be delivered so soon. I saw Hei yumming's face was black, and his white hands were like iron tongs, firmly grasping the wings of the meat pigeon, and it was pulled from the head. He has never experienced the humiliation of being sat on the head by a pigeon, let alone being a rectal animal like a pigeon, a creature that never knows how to clean the back door. Seeing the murderous look in Hei yumming's eyes, Tomioka Giyu knew that the pigeon was about to suffer, and hurriedly stepped forward to stop it. Mr. Ming, this is a special carrier pigeon for the ghost-killing squad, not food. Even he himself didn't realize that after seeing Hei yumming's astonishing strength, he couldn't help but forget the fact that the man in front of him was actually younger than him, and instead regarded him as his senior by default. However, Tomioka Giyu's persuasion did not have any explaining effect on Hei yumming, who was aroused by the ingredients. Hei yumming said kindly to Tomioka Giyu, "What carrier pigeon? Did you read it wrong? I only have a big fat chicken with a round face. Didn't the pigeon fly away a long time ago?" While holding the meat pigeon with one hand, the other hand pointed to the other side of the sky, indicating that the pigeon had flown away. "Am I right, Tanjiro?" As he spoke, Hei yumming asked Tanjiro, who was eating melons, with a smile on his face and murderous eyes. Tanjiro, who was threatened by Hei yumming's eyes, couldn't help but reply, "No, that's right." His face was flushed red from the great guilt brought by lying. "Cousin Ming is so scary, Mom, I want to go home." Hei yumming, who was affirmed, had a brighter smile on his face, and quietly pinched the pigeon's spine with his hand. Big round-faced fat chicken has high protein content, high digestibility, and low fat content. It is the most suitable for human consumption among animal meat. In addition, the calcium, iron, copper and other elements contained in it and vitamin A, B vitamins, vitamin E, etc. are higher than chicken, fish, beef, and mutton. It is most suitable for soup. Just turn it around your neck gently, and you can quickly end your short life. Hearing this, the big meat pigeon realized that the devilish man in front of him, the big round-faced fat chicken in his mouth, was referring to him, and immediately turned pale with fright. Ding! Congratulations to the host for unlocking the cooking skill, current level, 35, a small peek into the door. Sure enough, as Hei yumming expected, the system automatically unlocked his cooking skills when he was about to start cooking. That being the case, what else is there to consider? Give me a blast. Ding! The cooking level has been raised to LV36. Close black lens bracket. Ding! The cooking level has been raised to LV58. Close black lens bracket. Ding, the cooking level has been raised to LV99. Close black lens bracket. Ding, the culinary level has been upgraded to LVMAX, and an additional reward, gourmet cells. Gourmet cells. You who have reached the pinnacle of culinary skills, in order to truly experience the feeling of ingredients from the cellular level, injected the gourmet cells from the mysterious creatures in the deep-sea phantom jellyfish. With the gourmet cells, you get a physique that can be infinitely strengthened by devouring gourmet food, and an unparalleled insight into gourmet food. Close black lens bracket. Hey, gourmet cell, isn't this the strongest bug among the captives of gourmet food? He Yumming couldn't help being a little surprised when he felt the sudden increase in the ability in his body and the hundreds of years of cooking experience in his heart. Now that he has been implanted with gourmet cells, won't he be able to grow stronger even if he just eats every day? And as long as the food is better, the increase in strength will be greater, and it can even breed gourmet cell demons. This is a bug similar to the domineering color in the early stage. After He Yumming raised his culinary skills to the fullest level, he analyzed the quality of the ingredients of the meat pigeon in an instant with his terrifying insight. Oh, I don't know if you don't see it, no wonder your big round-faced fat chicken can grow so fat. It turned out to be grown from the leftover herbs from Ubuyashiki Kagaya, so I can't let you go. If he let go of such a plump pigeon, he himself would not forgive himself, not to mention that after accepting the gourmet cell, his hunger has been raised to a higher level now. Surrender your body for mine to become stronger. This sentence sounds so weird, forget it. Nezuko, light the fire and eat roasted pigeon tonight. Goo. Chapter 10. The half-crescent moon hangs quietly on the quiet snowy night, and the soft moonlight casts a pure white light on the snow-white deep forest. Compared with the soft moonlight and the tight environment, a bonfire in the forest is extremely dazzling, and the warm atmosphere among the 4 people and a fat bird beside the bonfire is like honey that is about to overflow, exuding sweet smell. Pulling the distance closer again, the smell of honey became even more like it was about to come out of the air, exuding a stomach-sick sweetness. Beside the bonfire is a bear skeleton that has been eaten to the bone, and the 4 people and 1 bird next to the bonfire are full of food, and their stomachs look like pregnant women who are 8 months pregnant. As for why the fat pigeon has not been used as food by the 4, of course it is because Nezuko likes this fluffy and fleshy pigeon. What's more, because of the howl of ghosts and wolves before the fat pigeon died, it knocked a honeycomb off the tree, and successfully smashed it on the head of a hungry bear that had just woken up from hibernation. And the ending is obvious, the bear blinded by honey naturally became the fat pigeon's scapegoat. He selflessly dedicated his life and turned it into a delicacy among the 4 of them. Naturally, He Yumming, who has obtained full-level culinary skills, did not let everyone down. Even under Tanjiro's question of, "Cousin Ming, did you really know how to cook before?" he still made delicious dishes that made everyone's tongues almost swallowed. As for Tanjiro's questioning, it was not without reason, he still vaguely remembered the bento that their cousin Ming had prepared for them. As if recalling that terrible black mosaic substance again, Tanjiro's body unconsciously shivered. However, even though the stomachs of the remaining 3 people have been stretched out, everyone's eyes still haven't moved away from the top of the campfire. There is no other reason. At this time, 2 bear paws covered with honey are being roasted on the bonfire. Under the roasting of the flame, the collagen-rich epidermis of the bear paws shrinks slightly. Under He Yumming's superb grilling technique, the dripping fat dances perfectly with the flame, heating every part of the bear's paw evenly. At the same time, the wild honey from the mountains is an excellent flavor-locking seasoning, which firmly locks the full juice in the tender roasted bear meat, making the taste of bear's paws even more delicious. After the honey was evaporated by the flame, the soft, glutinous and sweet taste made the eyes of the 3 people and 1 bird who were completely foodies around them stare straight. Don't grab anyone, this honey bear paw belongs to Nezuko, and this one belongs to me. As the bear paws were officially baked, the whereabouts of the 2 bear paws was decided instantly by He Yumming. Goo. The fat pigeon hiding in Nezuko's arms immediately expressed his dissatisfaction, and groaned at He Yumming. Do you have any comments? He Yumming immediately looked at the pigeon with murderous intent in his eyes and a sneer on his face. Although he was spared by the dead pigeon, it didn't mean that he had let it go. Pigeons. In his mind, this pigeon has already been labeled as a spare food by him. Cuckoo. The pigeon threatened by He Yuming's eyes finally recalled the experience that he was almost stewed into a perfect tonic soup, and immediately shook his head frantically in shock. The funny look made the three of them laugh for a while. And Nezuko even took a slight bite, and was completely overwhelmed by the incomparable taste, and began to open his mouth, happily enjoying Brother Ming's supper of love. And He Yuming also took advantage of this hard-won leisure time to taste the delicacies he cooked. Open black lens bracket ding. Congratulations to the host for eating top honey bear paw, strength +5, physical strength +5, acquired characteristic, Shang Julie. Great power of the bear, strength +15%. The prompt of the system instantly made He Yuming's smiling eyes narrow. He had thought that his gourmet cells would improve himself, but he never thought that such a simple dish of game could actually bring him such a terrifying strength bonus. However, what he didn't know was that if he hadn't raised his culinary skills to the full level, how could the cooking method that hadn't reached perfection like among the captives of gourmet food improve so quickly? Feeling, the power in the body seems to be vented. This feeling of becoming stronger is simply too addictive. Have you become stronger again? Tomioka Giyu, who noticed the change in He Yuming, asked in disbelief. At the moment just now, he could clearly feel the terrifying coercion coming from He Yuming's body, which was a new realm that he had never felt in the previous him. Well, I had an epiphany just now. By the way, what did you write in that letter? In order not to hit Tomioka Giyu, He Yuming once again made up a reason to make him feel better, and tried to pay attention to Tomioka Giyu. However, He Yuming's lies didn't make Tomioka Giyu feel any good, but after seeing the huge gap, he couldn't feel any more comparability, and couldn't help but sighed. A talent like yours, it is estimated that only the young man who became a pillar in 2 months can be compared with you. But after saying this, his eyes obviously became extremely serious, and he handed the letter in He Yuming's hand. It's going to change. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.